get started in 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, 3, 2, 1, and we're live.
Welcome to the Taha Truckee Unified School District Board of Trustees open meeting of May 19th, 2021. I apologize for our tardiness this evening. We try really hard not to be tardy, unlike my senior daughter, who's always tardy. You didn't hear that, Melanie. The board did meet in closed session this evening. We took no reportable action in closed session. And if you will all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Superintendent Geisels, does staff have any changes to this evening's agenda?
No, President Zurich, we do not.
Would anyone like to move approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that was 5-0, Lupita. Well, why don't we start with Dee Dee and just go this way each time? Is that okay?
This way?
This way.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Public comment. Do we have any public comment this evening on anything not on this evening's agenda? No. Okay. Thank you so much. Next, we move on to our Superintendent Chief Learning Officer's update for the board.
Thank you, President Zurich. So this week, May 17th to the 21st, is our Classified Employees Week. I would love for everyone to join me in celebrating the essential roles our classified employees play in education of our students. We are very grateful for all of our classified employees who work so very hard behind the scenes to help provide our students with a fantastic learning experience. Thank you for all you do, and we hope you're enjoying your week. And we are very excited this evening to have Ms. Stephanie Focek, our principal of Tahoe Lake Elementary, will be on the agenda a little bit later, right after me. The one thing I did want to talk about was just a bit of business is the masks mandates. So even as vaccinated adults stop wearing masks in many of our settings, schools should maintain a layered mitigation strategy, and that's coming from the California Department of Public Health, as well as our Placer County Department of Public Health. So until the end of the school year, I know it may be hard, but we are requesting that all students and staff continue to wear a face mask inside our school buildings, regardless of vaccination status. All students must wear a mask on TTUSD campuses until the end of the school year, and we're asking that all students also practice all the safety mitigation measures. We're almost there. So thank you so much for your cooperation and help. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent Geisels. And next, as you alluded to, we get to hear about Tahoe Lake Elementary School. Yay! We have smiles under these masks. Yes.
Thank you so much for having me here with everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. It's another step back to what feels normal, like to be in person together. And we are so excited that we are back at Tahoe Lake in Tahoe City, and it was worth the wait. A one-year project became a 3-year project, and really every minute of it was great. As I've shared before, our time at Rideout was really wonderful. We made the most of it, but being back in Tahoe City in our new and improved school is just really indescribable how great it is. The only thing that's been hard is we haven't been able to throw the doors open and welcome our whole community in that supported the building and the modernization of Tahoe Lake. So we did put together a tour video and wanted to share it with you tonight. So. Yay. Hello, welcome to Tahoe Lake Elementary School. I am Stephanie Focek, the principal at Tahoe Lake, and I'm so excited to share with you today our modernized and expanded, beautiful elementary school here in Tahoe City. So Come on in. Here is Miss Claudine, our admin secretary. So, welcome to our main office. All visitors come through here and check in before accessing any other part of the school, and we'll head on out to classrooms. So right now we're in a part of the school that was here before, and it's been expanded on either side, and you'll see the seismic retrofitting here, where we're leaving what was the old Tahoe Lake and moving into the new. This is one of our very favorite new spaces on campus. This is our greenhouse. Right, so here's our greenhouse. Soon it will be filled with all growing things, plants everywhere, and we do have some growth happening. First graders have been growing bulbs, and we look forward to just filling this with plants. Gets beautiful sunlight all day long, and it's just a great place to grow and learn all about the life cycle. So you used to have to go outside to get into the library, and now we have this beautiful connecting hallway that also created this awesome courtyard we can use as a learning space. Welcome to our courtyard, and we use this space for play. We use it for some outdoor learning. We will use it for gatherings when we're able to do so, and it's a beautiful, just protected space where students can be enjoying the sunshine and outside and engaging in learning. You can see the original windows of the little auditorium up there, and then the library is right here. Here's Mrs. Everest in her awesome classroom. So here's our little auditorium, and right now we're using it as a space for lunch to be COVID safe and with our mitigation efforts. This is one of the original parts of Tahoe Lake, built in 1934, and it's been preserved to keep its historic character. So we have a first grade class eating lunch.
Daintily into the ballroom, her eyes sparkling, her head held high. No one recognized the little man.
This is our music classroom, also part of the historic core of Tahoe Lake. Mrs. Keith has a music class right now. Hi. Hi. This is our new kinder art wall. This was just a plain cinder block wall, and our brilliant kindergarten teachers had the idea to capture the handprints of all of the first kinders and TKs at the new and improved Tahoe Lake, and designed this beautiful mural. And every single kinder and TK got to come and put their handprint in the flowers, the clouds, the dragonflies, the butterflies, and will be captured in the history of Tahoe Lake going forward. We're going into Mrs. Thomas's kinder. Hi! Oh my goodness, Kira, that is a beautiful handprint. Did you do a hand? Oh, that's lovely art. I love it. So nice. Is that your next one?
This is my fourth one.
That's your second one? I love it. It is beautiful. Okay, we're going to continue on to the top of the school. We have, this is Mcmaster Teaching Pe. We love it. We have two playgrounds. We have the upper playground here and then our lower playground. So plenty of place for students to spread out and play on the play structure. Welcome to our gym. We have PE in here when we can't be outside, and we captured this amazing mural. Used to be on the outside of the building. It was painted with an Excellence in Ed grant over 25 years ago. And a kindergarten classroom is on the other side of the wall now, and we were really sad. We thought we were going to have to lose the mural in the reconstruction process. But it was able to be captured in a high-resolution picture and transferred to the inside of the gym. And now is the feature here in the gym. And then we have the rest of the blue paint kind of echoing the mountain skyline around Tahoe. And we can go check out the kitchen. Kids can't wait till the kitchen line. Okay, and we're going into our library. Mrs. Grimance has a class in here. Hey Cubs, can you give a thumbs up if you love the library? I like the double thumbs up. Thank you so much for joining me and visiting Tahoe Lake today. And thank you to our community and Measure E for making this beautiful remodel possible for all of our children in Tahoe Lake. So like I said, I cannot wait to throw the doors open and have the whole community come and see. Most of our parents have not, I mean, the vast majority of our parents have not been beyond the office. We've had a few who've made it through for like an after-hours tour, but so for right now, the tour is as good as we get, but it really has just been wonderful, and we're so thankful for our space. Going through the... So we've had the same theme at Tahoe Lake for several years, and every year it seems a little bit more poignant, and it is the Maya Angelou quote that people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And certainly the TTUSD emphasis this year on, as we've gone through this shared experience of the pandemic together on social emotional well-being, we keep this in the forefront of everything we do, because if we don't feel good, if kids don't feel good about their learning, about the work they're doing, if our adults in the building don't feel good about the work they're doing, then it just isn't as productive as it can be. So we came up with this several years ago. Leadership team agreed to it as our theme, and we thought it would be for a year, and we can't let it go because it just resonates so strongly with what we need to be keeping in mind every day. And then this is also one in the green box that is really guiding our thinking as well. When little people are overwhelmed by big emotions, it's our job to share our calm, not to join their chaos. And really, we take out the little, and it's just when people are overwhelmed. And we've all been in this kind of state of overwhelm. Every day we've been back at school 5 days a week feels a little bit more normal and a little bit more the way school should feel. And it's so great. Every morning, kids get off the bus and get out of their cars. And the thing we have to say to them most is, don't run, you can walk, because they're so excited to see their friends, to get in their classrooms. And their joy at being on campus is just palpable, and just to be engaged in learning again. And those first days back, especially in hybrid, and then all together in 5 days, just have been so joyful. And the adaptations that we've made, Lupita, we can go forward, really for the kids, they just roll off their backs. So this picture here where the kids are working on trays, that's in our beautiful new science lab, which somehow didn't make it into the tour video. But to make it super flexible and work with COVID mitigations, we took all the furniture out, and the kiddos can go in there. They can still be engaged in hands-on science. It's just a little bit different than traditional times. But they are thoroughly engaged with what they're doing. We have our plexiglass shields. We have our kiddo up here, Casey, reading her book behind it, but you can't even really tell they're there. And our teachers are creative. They put clips on top, and they use it as part of the learning for, like, if your work is finished, clip it. If you're ready, and so those mitigation pieces have just blended into our school day and have really not hampered the joy of being back in school. I always have to thank our amazing team, and I usually share our staff picture. And of course, this year we didn't get together for a staff picture, but here's everyone's Bitmoji. So very 2020 that we had, on our website, our main page, and this linked to everyone's distance learning pages. And so we've kept that to capture our 2020 group.
Wait for a t-shirt of that.
Yeah, we'll try and get you one of those. And then just lastly, I wanted to keep it short tonight. I just want to say thank you for all you have done. Our board, all the leadership in the room. You've always kept kids in the forefront of all this work in this super challenging year. When we think back to, we started this school year, we were still at Rideout in a sea of boxes, and we moved to Tahoe Lake the end of September. And you think back to even March 2020, it seems like a decade ago and a minute ago. And everyone in TTUSD has just worked so hard to do everything possible for our kids, and I don't think those thanks are said enough. So thank you so much, and thank you for having me here tonight.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. We appreciate you doing this on top of everything you're doing this year. So we really, really appreciate it. And boy, can't I hardly wait to get back to seeing the kids. Really miss that. So thanks for bringing a little bit to us. Okay, next we're going to move on to a public hearing. This is an item that we also talked about at our last meeting, and this is a public hearing to receive comment on the question of making the conveyance of an easement to the Tahoe City PUD at Tahoe Lake L.
So Mr. Rivera is going to be talking about this in depth. Todd?
Sorry, at the last meeting, we brought a resolution of intent to convey property at our Tahoe Lake Elementary School campus, and that was relating to some of the water line connections that were made with the infrastructure improvements on campus, as well as infrastructure improvements that the project paid for that actually crossed the right-of-way across the street to connect to the main water line of Tahoe City PUD. So at this point in the process, we are required to do a public hearing to get any community feedback on the conveyance and whether the district moves forward with that. And then we're going to follow up with a resolution where the board will approve or not approve the conveyance to Tahoe City PUD in order to come on the property and maintain those connections and infrastructure.
Okay, thank you. So I will open the public hearing. Do we have any public? It does not appear so. Okay, so I'll close public hearing. And then we will move on to the board considering the resolution, which is item 11.1. So does the board have any questions on this item? No public comment. We already had the public hearing. So would someone like to make a motion on the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 20 for the easement and utility system facilities to Tahoe City PUD.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Great, thank you. Thanks, Todd. Then we have our consent agenda. Superintendent Geisels, does staff wish to pull any items from the consent agenda?
No, we do not.
Would any board member like to pull any items from the consent agenda? Would someone like to move the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Great, thank you. Can I tell you how nice it is to have us all here, you guys? So nice. Next, we have, as usual, from our amazing community, 3 donations. The first is from Truckee Tahoe Community Television Corp. For Tahoe Truckee Media.
Yes, the Tahoe Truckee Community Television Corporation is making a donation to Tahoe Truckee Media intended specifically applied to the cost of replacing failing devices in use on fiber links connecting TTM's broadcast facilities at TTUSD. This enables the upgrade to provide reception in high definition, and the amount is $2,200.
Any questions on that? Public comment? Would someone like to make a motion?
I will second that thought process of our amazing community, and I'll make a motion to accept the donation from Tahoe Truckee Community Television Corp.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Next, we have a donation from J.C. and Jesse Seacrest Family Foundation for the Reading Intervention Program at Glenshire Elementary School.
Yes, this wonderful donation is made in recognition of Miss Christina Baker's financial gift. Miss Baker is an enhancement professional for the Reading Intervention Program at Glenshire Elementary School. The amount is $500.
Very nice. Any questions? Any public comment?
No public comment.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the donation from the Seacrest Family Foundation.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Great, thank you. And last but not least, a donation from the Hall family for the physical activity and outdoor education at Glenshire Elementary.
Yes, this wonderful donation is made on behalf of the whole family, and it pertains, but is not limited to play equipment, structures, and educational materials, and the whole family gift fund is $10,000.
Questions? Public comment?
No public comment.
Thank you. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the donation from the Hull family.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Thank you to the TTCT, the Seacrest family, and the Halls. Thank you so much. We're going to move on now to business services. We have one facilities item, and that is approving an amendment for core construction for Truckee High School Modernization Program.
Yes, Mr. Rivera is going to talk about this one.
Thank you. So also at the last meeting, we brought to you some of the closing documents for the Truckee High School Modernization Project with course construction that was performed under a lease-leaseback delivery method, and included in that was the revised guaranteed maximum price. What I'd shared with you, we had a savings of approximately $1.2 million. And as part of the lease-leaseback delivery method, there has to be a lease component to that, meaning that we pay lease payments to the contractor for the use of the building. So this amendment basically is confirming the guaranteed maximum price from that we shared at the last board meeting, but also setting aside that lease amount, which is included in that guaranteed maximum price, and setting that aside for retention. And under the lease-leaseback rules, we have to wait 90 days to actually pay those lease payments to the contractor after the notice of completion is approved, which you did at the last meeting. So the last step in this process will be to bring a resolution to you on August 4th, which will terminate our lease agreement from the lease-leaseback contract so that we can pay out this final retention amount of $1 million.
Any questions? Any public comment on this?
No public comment.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve amendment number 5 for core construction.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Thank you, Todd. Okay, so now for the main event this evening. We get to hear about or see the first draft of our Expanded Learning Opportunities Grant Plan.
Thank you, President Zurich. So this is going to be a tag team effort. We want to be able to provide the board an update of where we are with our expanded learning opportunities, which is called the Learning Recovery Plan. And I will have the help of Ms. Valerie Simpson and Mr. Jeff Santos. I think it goes this way. Yes. So just really in a nutshell, what is the Expanded Learning Grant Opportunity Plan? It comes from Assembly Bill 86. And one of the conditions for funding for us is to be able to provide a plan that must be adopted by the board by June 1st. And then we have to submit it to the California Department of Ed 5 days within that adoption. So tonight we're going to bring you the first draft. So these are the requirements. If we receive any money for this plan, we must provide support in supplemental instruction, support for social emotional well-being, and meals and snacks. So also the Learning Recovery Plan has to provide support to one of the following groups, one or more of the following student groups. And as you can see, low-income students, students at risks, language learners, students with disabilities, or homeless, at-risk youth, or students that are at risk of being disengaged. So here are the two big takeaways. We had to think about the grant funding is one time for 1 year. What actions can we implement as a district that would positively impact the greatest number of students, our target students? So the big 7. We had 7 buckets we could choose from, and they are here in front of you. We could think about extending instructional time. We could think about accelerating the progress to close our learning achievement gap. We could also figure out how to provide supports to address other barriers in learning for our students. The other remaining 4 was community learning hubs. Can we establish hubs? We could also maybe provide support for credit deficient students in our high schools. Also provide additional academic services. And of course, training and professional development of all of our staff. So those were the 7 buckets we could choose from. We want you to know that our ELO grant, the draft that you have, is aligned to our strategic plan pathways, which we will look forward to revising in the coming year. It's also aligned to the second goal about resources and expanding our community and financial resources. And of course, social emotional. The one really major component about the expanded learning grant is providing social emotional health and well-being support to our students. Our ELO grant draft that you have also is aligned with LCAP. Goal 1, making sure our scholars are ready and prepared for college. Goal 2 is making sure our staff members are implementing effective, essential instructional strategies in the classroom. And goal 3 is providing support to provide a safe and positive school environment for our students. So our outcomes are these 3 big bullets. We had to collaborate with our stakeholders because we need their input, it's essential. We also identified district-wide goals which turned into site-level solutions as well. So we created a 1-year plan that aligns with our strategic plan and also our LCAP. Our funding source is to be spent, it's one-time money, it's by at least August 31st, 2022, I believe, or 2023. I have the wrong date there, I'm sorry. 2.4 million is what we're expected to receive, and out of that 2.4 million, 244,000 must be spent on enhancing paraprofessionals or instructional assistants. What this means is providing them support in the realm of either professional development or having them outline and extend their workday to support students. So these are some key considerations. We only found out about this grant March 5th when it went into law. The criteria to apply was announced March 27th. We went into 5-day in-person instruction, modified March 29th. Then we went on spring break. And then, when we came back, we started working on the grant. So I have to commend the principals who are watching tonight and our teachers who provided input, as well as our parents. This was done in a really short time, turnaround time. And again, we are really excited about what we can provide the board as a first draft, and we look forward to hearing your input. And then one thing we had to talk about is, especially bullet point number 2, sometimes our needs, not wants, will drive actions. So for example, we wanted to hire 30 additional paraprofessionals, instructional aides, but the need is how do we target students in smaller groups? We are having a difficult time filling our positions currently, so it would be unrealistic to think that we could fill and hire 30 additional individuals. So we had to think out of the box. We also know that whatever we implement in the first year, we want to continue as best as possible in outcoming years through our LCAP and site plan goals. And the one thing that I think everyone needs to really understand, as Ms. Vocek said, Stephanie said, you know, the impact of COVID-19 will take some time, and reversing that will take some time. And this grant is a great first step in doing that. So you can't see it very well, but it's a really cool flow chart that I used to show the process on how we put together this grant and engagement. And then we had parent and staff input for the ELO grant. These are all the meeting dates that the schools, the principals had with their parents and their staff to elicit their input. As you can see, they worked really hard in a very short amount of time, so I need to commend them again for their hard work. And then, if I can get this to go, these are the times we met with the principals. So again, they have put a lot of effort into this. We've been meeting so far, you can tell, at least 6 times, and the last meeting was May 17th. So what you have before you, board, is the latest and greatest version based on that May 17th meeting. What we put in the board agenda packet, we had to do it prior to this May 17th meeting. And I think we're on version 6, right, Ms. Simpson? So tonight, with your input, will be version 7.
And what's highlighted in yellow.
Right. So now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Simpson, who's going to talk about an overarching explanation of the grant academic goals. There you go.
Great, thank you. And what we did also is we highlighted the yellow so that you could see that that was where some of the changes were. So you don't have to read the whole thing all over again. So yes, and I wanted to add a little bit too. When we were starting the work with the principals and the assistant principals, the goal was not only to identify actions that would increase students' learning, particularly in light of, you know, the year that we have gone through, but also to look back at before COVID and what path were we on before that? Like, what great things were we poised to do, and how can we then kind of leverage these funds to help us get better and do things that we didn't even imagine we could do, and now we have the funds to be able to do some of these great things. So I wanted to just say that too. So like Ms. Geisel said, the ability to be able to measure, did what we do work over the next year and a half with these new actions? How do we know? And then how do we figure out what we're going to sustain? So, okay, so we have different pots that we've categorized the slides into. So you're going to see within the school day, you'll see extended school day, you'll see extended school year, and then Jeff's going to handle the social emotional section. So within the school day, and these are just, I'm going to say like tip of the iceberg. Elementary is looking to focus really on improving first instruction around reading, teaching reading. And so they're going to be looking at training all elementary teachers in, it's not a program, but it's a research-based LETTERS. It's called LETTERS. It's an acronym that, I shouldn't have put the acronym up there, but it's a literacy and language training that's based on the research and the science. And so we're really excited about that. Middle school will be looking at what does their in the school day system of intervention look like? How's it working? What adjustments might need to be made? One big action there is they're looking at how can we increase the number of trained staff? So we have staff, do they all have the training that they need? Are they all being trained on similar programs and methods so that we can have a collective impact? So those are the big focus areas there. High school, really excited about this one. High school, they have a longer, you can see it in the plan, a longer goal there with the measurements. We are going to be offering credit recovery sections during the school day. And we're switching from Apex to a program called Edgenuity that the teachers have vetted. And it is a blended or not blended, but an online curriculum. It provides much more than what Apex did in the past. And the fact that we're going to be able to do this during the school day is very exciting. So if you can imagine, this section would be like, I'm a math teacher and I have integrated 1, integrated 2, and integrated 3 students in front of me. And I'm teaching them all using this Edgenuity small group instruction. Students will be getting live instruction, which is new for us for credit recovery. And then the other exciting thing about this is that when a student takes the credit recovery section for whatever course, they actually can earn all the way up to an A. So we're very excited about that change. And there'll be more coming. Extended school day in the area of academics. So this is where we're looking at what are we doing outside of the school day. Some examples here, we're improving and providing after-school intervention programs. Again, looking at, okay, do all the teachers have the similar tools? Do all the classified staff that are providing sessions in the afternoon, are we all kind of going out with the same methods and common message and knowledge base so that we have that collective impact? Middle school, very similar, looking at training, but also, this is also very exciting too, is continuing to offer office hours, either via Google, via the phone, like a homework hotline. And then the other exciting thing that's already started to happen is that we have one school, Alder Creek, that's been doing a community learning hub at, I believe it's at Hennis Flats. And so we have teachers going over there. So now we can compensate those teachers for their time. We can expand it. We can provide resources. We can provide meals and snacks for the students. And so that is super exciting to be able to go to the families and be available. And in high school, very similar is also providing and improving the resources and support. So high school is looking to continue office hours, using Ingenuity to not only support credit recovery, but other intervention programs. There's all kinds of other actions that are in that. Those are the main ones there. And then for our extended school year, namely the summer. I also want to say, too, that we have had one high school, North Tahoe High, who's been taking advantage of Ski Skate Week to provide extra learning time for students, too. So that's already been happening. I can see that expanding next year as well. Under the grant, though, we're going into our Power Summer program. This is a new and improved summer school program. It is a full-day program in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. We'll have a program on the Truckee side and a program on the lake side, and students will be not, in the morning they will have their academics, and in the afternoon they'll receive enrichment from Boys and Girls Club. In the morning, they will actually move in and out of Boys and Girls Club and the teacher, like in small group instruction, based on what they need. And so that is very exciting. We know through the research that a typical summer school program doesn't work unless it's full day, and it doesn't work unless it involves enrichment and fun. And so this is super exciting. Middle school, we know Aim High. We put this in here too because we continue to support that program with our facilities. We support with meals and snacks and also with transportation. And then at high school, this is another exciting credit recovery improvement, is we are now offering during the summer two paths, I guess you could say, where a student can choose to do the typical path of credit recovery where they work on their own and they're monitored by the teacher. So kind of like an independent study. The new path is that a student can be recommended or can tell their counselor, hey, I really want to have live instruction. So they can go the path of going to this and getting live instruction along with Edgenuity. So that same model that I described during the school day with like, okay, you could have 3 different courses in front of you. That's the type of model that we're looking to implement this summer for high school. So just some really great improvements that if it weren't for this money, I don't think we could have got this far. And that's social emotional is Mr. Santos, who's up next. Okay.
You guys have enough space? Yeah. All right. Can you all hear me? All right. So social emotional falls under student services in the sense that we oversee mental health, counseling, group supports, and so forth. So the information that's in your packet, but also we're going to present tonight, this actually came from senior leadership, from feedback from their leadership teams at all of their sites, including counselors, teachers, and other stakeholders at each of their sites. So the information came from senior leadership, administrators, but came from their sites ultimately as well. So as you already know, we have a pretty robust social emotional program across the board for what we call our Tier 1. So all students have equal access to social emotional supports. And this has been sort of on the forefront since we started this school year based on COVID and the amount of trauma that we've identified that students may have experienced. So on that trauma front, we actually have a guest speaker coming in to do an all-day professional development training for all of our staff, classified included, and her name is Heather Forbes. She's sort of one of the leading experts in this area, and what's great about it is it'll be an all-day event in August, as you can see on the 26th, but it also includes year subscription for all of our school sites and staff regarding materials and resources that they can access and use throughout the year, as well as planning lessons. So this is actually a big treat in that sense, so I just want to highlight and show that was one of our main outcomes. The other is that we'll continue to provide these social emotional supports across the board. So if there's ways that we can enhance it using these funds, we'll look at that as well. Elementary, middle school, and high school all met separately in terms of groups, but there's a lot of common overlapping areas. So the elementary, Glenshire Elementary and Truckee Elementary are currently using an assessment tool called the DESA. And the DESA basically allows the school to identify and pinpoint students that might have more Tier 2 and Tier 3 needs. And it actually gives you specific areas to work on. So clinicians, counselors, mental health staff can target those areas and then actually give a post-survey to determine if it actually worked for those students, which is actually a great data source in that sense for us to track how it's working and not working. So another part of that is we're actually looking at expanding that to the middle school, which is the next section. And on top of that at the middle school, looking at adding our wellness centers at those sites. Currently, our 2 high school sites have that, and it has been a huge resource and support for our youth. They can pop in, they can discuss sensitive topics in confidentiality form, have group sessions, and just a place to go where it's a safe place, if you will. So we're looking to expand that to both of our middle schools, which is going to be great for that, for the youth there. At the high school level, same thing, things will continue. We are exploring if we want to have the DESA at that particular age group, but we are looking at adding more robust clinical supports at the high school level, including social worker type supports. We're finding that our high school youth, they're spread out so often throughout the community that having someone that can help run point on coordinating services and efforts for those families. We're going to start at the high schools, and like I mentioned earlier, we might start expanding that to our middle and elementary schools. We'll have one on the Lake side and one on the Truckee side to help link between all of our local organizations and so forth.
Thank you, Jeff. So our next steps is to take feedback from you and revise the current version of the grant, and then bring the final grant draft to you for approval, formal approval on June 1st at a special board meeting. So we have questions for you. What sections or areas of the grant do you possibly have any questions about? And are there any areas that you should feel that we should address in the grant that we may not have covered, to get your input? And that's all we have as far as our presentation.
Does that do it? Kirsten, you want to start?
I guess, just off the top of my head, since this is a one-year grant, that always brings up a lot of sort of questions about, like, I think this is for you, Jeff. And you may not be able to answer this, but when you have a one-year grant, you typically seed a lot of programs that then need to be sustained, right? And the funding of that is obviously not resolved. We don't know how, like, say, for example, you said you're going to hire a mental health specialist to work at the high school with students individually, and that mental health specialist, I'm assuming that position will expire in 1 year. Is there a vision, or is there a plan that may be actionable at some point to be able to create that position on an ongoing basis so that we don't just create something and then take it away?
Absolutely. That's a great question. The first thing that comes to my mind is really just assessing how successful it was. One of the things that we've identified in the area is finding clinicians that are school-based intended, if you will. So I think one, it would determine how it's going. I think number two, if it is working, I think our district as well as our community have really rallied around to make sure that we have those services continue. So I'd be optimistic if it was something that was powerful and working, which I'm optimistic that it will, we would find a funding source on that front, because it's a big need. Obviously, it's in this grant. So I would say absolutely we would look into that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Chris, do you have anything?
No, thank you. That was my question too. With all of these plans, how would you move forward with the things that are deemed worth it, you know?
And again, as Jeff said, Chris, we would assess what's working, whether it's worth maintaining. And because of the grant, the nature of the grant, we have to do an expenditure report. So as we do that expenditure report for the state, we're also going to do an assessment report. How are things going? Is it really meeting the needs of our students as we stated? So we will come back to you during the course of the year to provide that information.
So are they providing the evaluation methodology alongside the grant, or are we supposed to create that?
We are actually going to create that using what we have in-house as far as for example, the DESA. You know, we have to put goals to address to each of these ideas, and we have to measure what we're talking about. So we will bring that back to you during the course of the year.
Dee Dee? No? Galen?
This looks like a big program. Does it involve a lot of new people?
I don't think it involves a lot of new people. What we want to do first and foremost, Galen, is repurpose our people. The one thing that we have the nature of where we work and where we live is sometimes we have difficulty filling current positions. So we will have to do the best we can with new positions in that respect. But it's really about repurposing and extending the hours of our wonderful teachers and our classified employees and paying them to do that.
So that'd be like extra hours they would be compensated for?
Yes, yes. And as you will see at the end of your giant plan, there should be a projected expenditures report that shows you, we may not be able to hire 30 paraprofessionals, but we were looking for at least 6. And then all of those expenditures, I know Todd calculated that if we had all of our teachers in our district, just as a ballpark, worked 2 hours extra per week, you would see the cost there. But it depends on how things fall out. So we're shooting for the moon and reaching for the stars, and it's best to have that outlined in the grant than not.
Yep. So I really like the part about taking action, measuring, see what works, what doesn't. I guess you have to measure before you start to know where things are. Especially on a summer program, if we can finally find out how effective this is. How often will you report to the board on the effectiveness of this?
I think we'd like to align it to our in-district assessments. So at the elementary level, it's trimester. And I think we would come with, an update of not just the academic piece, but if possible, the social and emotional piece too. Where we're at, what we're doing, how's it going. That was our plan.
Every trimester?
At least every trimester.
Great. I'm looking forward to it.
So am I.
So I didn't have anything specifically that I thought you missed. I was super excited to see the additional mental health support. I am echoing some of the others. I'm worried about hiring folks because I know how difficult it is right now. And so I hope that all of our staff will consider the extra compensation and working with our kids because they do it all the time. So it's really great to be able to recognize that. The tight timeline, I'm concerned about getting kids in summer school because it's May 19th today, right? And so we need to let everybody know, we need to know the dates, all of that. I love the food part because we know that's a need in our community and it's also a motivator. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this works. I do have longer term concerns also, but I admire the work that you all have done on this up till now. So I don't know that, I don't have anything specific other than kind of those general concerns and, yeah.
I wanted to address the summer school. We were going to offer that similar Power Summer for elementary and the credit recovery improvements anyway. So we already were in process to start making that happen. So yes, they do. Last week at the high school level, all the high schools received, the counselors and the principals received the flyer, the informational flyer. And then at the elementary school, since it's such a targeted group, we actually look at the list of students, which is what we've always done. Who are the students that we know might need it? And then we're having the schools look at those lists and then make recommendations. And then we do the personal phone calls and just kind of go one by one. So that's started a little bit at the elementary level, but yes, we're going to be moving fast here. Yep, for sure.
And on the special ed front for summer school, at every student's IEP, the team reviews what the summer school, what we call extended school year, with the parents at that time, let them know what the dates are, the times, and then our letters actually go out in a week, but we keep in touch with them throughout the year so they know. Actually, a lot of those parents and students attend every year, so it's just part of the routine through the IEP process as well. And I was going to go back to the mental health piece as far as staffing. one other option that we're looking into as well, there are a lot of nonprofit and/or mental health agencies, which Ms. Levac knows, and maybe contracting with some of those agencies as well. Rather than having to hire in-house, we'd be able to access some of those groups from Nevada County, Placer County, and some of those Nevada City area, Grass Valley, and so forth. So looking into that.
Great, thanks, great creative thinking on that. And the only other thing that popped in my mind when I was looking at this is, I think adults feel traumatized too. And we supporting our adults who are supporting our kids. And I know you guys have been doing that all along. But, I just want to keep that in mind and not ignore that. So.
We've actually been thinking about that ourselves and how we could incorporate it, into that. And maybe during the process of developing the details of each of these buckets, we can come up with an idea.
Yeah, some wellness ideas. I know we do that at work. We do lots of different, really pretty impactful but easy wellness things. And I know we do that here at the district too. It just, yeah.
Actually, that is something that the district was exploring pre-COVID, and then when COVID hit, and obviously it's more important now than ever, but we were meeting with the hospital and some other local health professionals to look at opportunities for our employees regarding maybe discounts at local gyms, massage, acupuncture, yoga, also working with CAT and food service regarding, meal options and that sort of thing, like healthy snacks. Even holding some of those activities before school, so like yoga lessons in the morning before school starts for our staff, just the importance around that as well. So talking with Kim Bradley, she and I have kind of worked together on that, and actually we had a conversation about resurrecting that just based on that. So
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that
Our
up.
most popular was 15-minute chair massages. People loved that. And we couldn't do it during COVID, but boy. Yeah, a chair massage. Yes. All right, well, I think you got the general feedback. Go forward.
Okay, we'll bring you back a final draft and go from there on
So
June
we'll
1st.
have our special meeting on Tuesday, the 1st of June.
Yes, for
Terrific.
board approval, yes.
Great. Thank
Okay,
you
thank
so
you.
much. Okay. Our next item is the comments of board members. Dee Dee, I'm going to start with you.
What have I done?
What have you done?
What have I done? I'm going to say that I have just sort of done what Stephanie said in terms of Taha Lake is fly by, gone to the office, haven't gone to the classrooms. And I did think the other morning when I was running that I definitely cannot wait to go through all these schools. Like I did the same thing with Mitchell's. I just sort of wave and you say hi. So definitely waiting, but I'm looking forward to getting into those classrooms. The other thing that I think we had talked about at one point that I would love to do, and not sure when that will happen, is ride the bus routes. Like I still think that's one of my things that I have not ever done, is just check out the bus routes and how we do it. Because it's always been crazy on my mind, because I watched a bunch of buses today, and then because of the fact that we switched so much from our normal schedule to our COVID schedule, like the buses are going at different times now, and I think it's just one of those crazy things that I don't think I understand. That's my next mission.
Galen?
I have nothing.
I also don't think I have anything. Chris?
I don't have anything to report, but I do have something to promote, and that is Boys and Girls Club Great Future Productions. They do 3 major plays every year where they have kids from ACMS, North Tahoe School, North Tahoe High School, Incline High School, and they are starting tomorrow's opening night for Newsies, and they have 2 shows on Saturday and Sunday, but Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. And I just want to encourage you, because it is only for 8th grade through seniors in high school, so it's been impressive, the clips I've seen. I've not been allowed to go in, even though my daughter's in it, so I can't wait. But I just want to encourage us, because it is all the kids from our district. So, and you can get tickets at eventbrite.com or through the Boys and Girls Club of North Lake Tahoe. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And there is also a performance at Truckee High, a musical performance, I believe it's in 2 days, that you can buy virtual tickets for.
I think that, speaking of which, I think it would be fun to figure out a way, because now that and this is just personal, that none of us are so like in the schools like we normally are, that we hear about things, that, I know that I would love to be back in the sites more, and you get more off, like you hear what's going on. And I know you can go on the websites, but it would be fun to figure out a way to get it so that we don't miss out on some of these things that are happening, because things are happening now that they haven't been. I don't know where or how you do it, because people are starting to come back, and it would be nice to sort of get invited.
Well, speaking of happenings, we all got invited to all the graduations, which is pretty cool, so hopefully everybody responded. Yep. Yeah. Kirsten?
No comments other than I plan on responding to the email about the graduations and all of the signups. So I apologize
Yes,
for not responding
graduations
to that.
and promotions, too.
Promotions.
And
Yep.
promotions,
Yep.
yep.
Terrific. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you all so much. Nice work. This is huge in such a short period of time.